It's wonderful to come back here once a season, twice a season.
I catch myself saying to John and to his predecessors, thank you for the platform. That's all you want.
For us, it's very special because it has been the first hall that welcomed us in London and in the UK.
We love it here. We've been coming here for years now, and it's always a special thing to do.
It's one of these rooms that you can mention to your parents who are not musicians, who know basically nothing about music, and they still say, I've heard this name.
There is no compromise on the highest quality.
The people that come are people like me. They love it. They love music.
It's a very attentive and enthusiastic audience.
Great acoustics. I think for strings it's just amazing.
Wigmore Hall just happens to be the most beautiful size and the most beautiful acoustic.
Yeah, it has exactly the right size also for chamber music. It's beautiful sound, and it's great always to come back with different projects.
It's just one of these prestigious places.
It's the place in the world where the most recitals during one season are played.
The platform, the canvas upon which you can paint is so hugely important.
It's a great creative outlet to put my ideas down, and for them to be heard and appreciated is really good.
I do feel, whether we're playing in a sort of school assembly or playing in an important concert somewhere, it's the same desire to draw people into the kind of narrative of what's going on, whether it's 6-year-olds or 86-year-olds.
I loved it! It was really nice and fun.
When everything is going right, there's this sense of flow and presence and a sense of connectedness.
Wigmore Hall is like an emerald, full of hope.
Good afternoon everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to launch another new concert season. The event is now the most important in our annual calendar and sets out not only the season ahead, but also our fundraising efforts to underpin everything that we do. And I'm very pleased to see so many audience members and artists here today, as well as representatives of cultural institutes, embassies and diplomats from France, Austria, Germany, Italy and Holland. It's a great joy to welcome each and every one of you. Wigmore Hall is rightly celebrated as one of the world's truly great chamber music venues, with more than 920 events next year, including 460 concerts and 460 learning events, and where sales have almost doubled since 2005, now totaling almost 200,000 attendances in each calendar year. Last year, over 13,000 people visited us for the first time, and our fundraising efforts support our ambition to bring more people to the hall and to get as close as possible to full audience capacity. Our extensive programme shows great diversity with strong artistic partners, a commitment to new music and living composers, with over 40 commissions next year, an internationally influential learning programme, an ongoing commitment to developing young artists, and an award-winning record label. Our ambition is to share all our work with the widest possible audiences, ensuring that the arts play a vital, positive and lasting role, whether here in the hall, in the community, or through the ever-changing digital and new media world. The demographic of our audience is certainly changing as our traditional programme expands and as we include more jazz, family concerts, contemporary, early and world music. To continue broadening our audience, I'm delighted to announce that in addition to our Cavatina ticket scheme, we will introduce an extensive scheme of subsidised £5 tickets for evening concerts for 10,000 people under the age of 35. The cost of this is underpinned by a legacy, an extraordinary gift, which is enabling us to do so much more for the younger generation. And it underlines just how important legacies are for the whole and for the future. We have also restructured our pricing in the hall for evening concerts, and from September onwards, the lowest price ticket for every evening performance here will be £15 or below for audiences of any age. We will also begin streaming concerts whilst continuing to work closely with BBC Radio and Television. Radio 3 now broadcasts almost 100 concerts a year from the hall, and BBC is a very much valued partner of ours. Everybody here is rightly proud of our learning programme, which this year celebrates 21 years of taking our work far beyond the confines of the evening concert series and this building to hundreds and thousands of people engaging with serious music very often for the first time. Let me share some success stories with you. Since 1994, the overall attendance at our schools programme stands at over 70,000 children across 3,000 schools. We have also run 4,600 workshop sessions, events, and bespoke learning concerts. Since 2008, we have been leading the work of Music for Life, our pioneering scheme for people living with dementia, reaching over 1,000 care staff, musicians and practitioners, and most importantly, those living with dementia in residential settings and at the hall. And all you have to do is to read the papers to see how important that work is. Since 2009, our work at the Cardinal Hume Centre, a non-denominational centre in Victoria, has benefited participants who have been at risk of homelessness, of social exclusion, refugees, rehabilitated drug users, and families really down on their luck. The development of communication, quality, performance, and creativity lays the foundations for a fulfilling and an inclusive citizenship based on shared meaning, heritage, and identity. The connections that we foster between people and music lie at the heart of Wigmore Hall's learning programme and indeed at the heart of everything that we do. For us, it's not just about nurturing the next musical generation, but giving every child and every adult the chance to embark on a journey with the arts. I often speak of the value of music and the arts for all communities, for society, and for our own personal well-being, and of the pride we should feel in our musical heritage. As we approach the Hall's 115th anniversary in 2016, this heritage powerfully connects us to the past. But let's look to the future. It's been almost 11 years since our successful front of house and auditorium refurbishment and restoration. That project and the subsequent purchase of the building's long-term lease have transformed the organisation, enabling key investments and changes in programming and great strides in the support of young artists, ensembles and composers, all of which have contributed to a substantial increase in ticket sales and a broader demographic. This work can only be continued with your ongoing vital support. Over the years ahead, we will enhance the capacity of this building and transform our digital infrastructure to ensure the longevity of all we do by addressing two very vital needs. The first need is the building itself, and in particular the backstage areas, which were not refurbished 11 years ago. In fact, it's been over 25 years since anything was done backstage. Artists, staff and audiences will benefit from updated backstage facilities and new purpose-built work environments. New flexible rehearsal spaces will allow for the accommodation of larger international ensembles. Air handling systems and building services equipment will be improved, and secondary glazing will be installed backstage, alleviating tuning issues previously created by fluctuating temperatures between the auditorium and the backstage areas. And all you have to do is ask anybody who plays on a period stringed instrument about that particular problem. We're really glad to finally get to address it. Secondly, these major works will also address our enduring responsibility to take our work to the widest possible audience. Consumer technology has now matured to the point where live events can be streamed to an international audience, making the work of the hall accessible to anyone, anywhere with an internet connection. Following this year's building work, Wigmore Hall will be fully equipped to stream, broadcast, record and present our work digitally, including performances, masterclasses, talks, learning events and much more. And full details of how and when we do all of this will be announced towards the end of this calendar year. In addition to these exciting developments, today we formally launch our new website. We've been tweaking it over the last 5 or 6 days, so thank you to all of you who've given us very useful feedback. We're confident enough now today to finally flick the switch. The website has been built from the ground up to support the needs of our ticket-buying public and to serve as an international digital stage. And the complete catalogue of our multi-award-winning Wigmore Hall Live label is also available to purchase in high quality as digital downloads. And so to the launch of the 15-16 season. Now the press were here for a briefing yesterday. As usual with the press, I only told them half the story. So you're getting the rest of it today. The season will be opened by Yeston Davies on the 12th of September with the English concert and Harry Bickett. Sir Simon Rattle makes his Wigmore Hall debut. Very unusually, he will be playing piano, accompanying his wife, Czech mezzo-soprano Magdalena Kozina, as part of her 5-concert series with us. It will be their first such recital together in the UK, and I think probably only the second time they've done this together anywhere. Her series will show off many sides of her extraordinary artistry, and Mitsuko Chida will be among the many artists performing with Magdalena. Dame Mitsuko also returns later in the season to join the Eben Quartet for a performance of Schumann's piano quartet in E-flat. We all know that Schubert's songs belong to the stock of mankind's highest achievements. They are potent examples of the best in human creation and a vast resource of solace and great joy for performers and listeners alike. Over the next 2 years, we will present every single one of the composer's 600-plus lieder performed by truly outstanding artists. This series has been 3 or more years in the making and in the planning, and we are delighted to be collaborating with the Schubertiad in Schwarzenberg and Hohenheims in this great project, a new international partner for us, and one which truly believes in preserving the song recital as a concert-going experience just as much as we do ourselves. Martha Argerich makes a welcome return to the hall when she joins Stephen Kovacevic on the 2nd of November in celebration of his 75th birthday. Christian Gerhaher is one of the great song recitalists of our time, always ready to pursue expressive and vocal risks in the search for deeper artistic meaning. He returns for 5 concerts next season. That's the most he's ever given here in any season, complete with song cycles and other landmarks of the 1st and 2nd Viennese schools. Wigmore Hall's artist in residence will be the French cellist Jean-Guyen Keras, whose captivating musicianship and compelling integrity will be a constant throughout the season. And we also welcome the young Russian pianist Daniel Trifonov, who will give a 4-concert series, which includes recitals alongside Gidon Kramer and Matthias Gerner. We are also very pleased to welcome Julia Fischer and Igor Levit in Beethoven's violin sonatas, while Stephen Isserlis joins us for Bach's cello suites in one evening. Jordi Saval will continue to explore the positive impact of cross-fertilization between countries and cultures in a program showing how simple dance forms from across Europe were transformed into works of irresistible elegance for the ears of the Renaissance leaders. We'll be celebrating the extensive chamber and instrumental music of Bela Bartok right throughout the season in the company of the Heath Quartet, the violinists James Ennis and Barnabas Kellerman, and pianist Cedric Tebergien, and many, many more. Following the colossal success of its first season, our Henry Purcell, a retrospective, continues with an enhanced programme of concerts. The series explores all of Purcell's inspired output, from his music for intimate royal chambers and chapels to works conceived for Westminster Abbey and the London stage. Once again, the stellar list of artists reads like a who's who of Purcell performance, including Trevor Pinnock, Carlin Sampson, Andres Scholl, and Vox Luminis. And we're particularly pleased that Harry Christophers and the 16 will perform 2 programmes of Purcell's Royal Welcome Songs as part of their very first major residency at the Hall. The Mozart Odyssey, we're already halfway through. It was launched in September 14, continues with further concerts exploring the composer's chamber and instrumental music. Alina Ibragimova and Cedric Tebergien conclude their beguiling survey of Mozart's works for violin and piano. Francesco Piemontesi begins his cycle of the complete piano sonatas on a modern piano, and Christian Bezuidenhout also continues his survey of the solo keyboard works on forte piano. Wigmore Hall presents more song recitals than any other venue in the world. It can appear at times as if the song recital is an endangered species, and we are committed to ensuring that the song recital continues to be at the centre of classical music making. We're incredibly grateful to the Monument Trust for a magnificent and transformational recent grant of £750,000, which will underpin our song recital, indeed our entire vocal series, over the course of the next 5 years, expanding its impact here in the Hall and internationally. This gift has given us the confidence to programme 92 song recitals next season. As part of our commitment to song, we continue to nurture outstanding young song accompanists. So I'm delighted that James Baillieu, winner of the Pianists Prize at the 2009 Wigmore Hall Cone Foundation International Song Competition, will be appearing in a series right throughout the season. And we hope to help other outstanding young song pianists in a similar way in the seasons ahead, giving them an essential platform and building up an important new generation. I'm also very pleased to remind you that we have another song competition in early September, just before the start of the season, which attracts entries from all over the world. And I'm very pleased to see Sir Ralph and Lady Cohn here in the audience, who have underpinned that competition for the best part of 20 years. I feel it's important to underline once again that we are now the largest commissioning platform for new chamber music and song anywhere in the world, with over 40 new commissions next year. And we'll also be celebrating the imminent 90th birthday of one of Austria's greatest living composers, with a day devoted to the serene work of Friedrich Sierha. Jazz remains a constant throughout the season, including our audience favourites Brad Meldau and Christian McBride on the main stage here, and there are another 10 jazz concerts downstairs programmed as part of our summer Wigmore Lates series. And we have a small world music series, details of which will be announced in April. Over 2,000 musicians will stand on this platform next year. So it's very hard for me to do justice to it in 10 or 15 minutes. So have a look at the screen behind me, because it gives you a better overview of the richness and scope of the season, some things that I simply can't fit in. as the flagship national and international organisation for chamber music and song, Wigmore Hall plays a significant role in nurturing the nation's cultural ecology. People all over the world want to engage with us, and we are determined to fulfil our role as a leading national cultural organisation. We want to increase our reach and our impact and deliver what we see as our unique responsibility. And I would like to thank Arts Council England for their grant of £650,000 towards our Backstage and digital building project, as well as the £300,000 or so of support that they give to the Hall each and every year. However, for us to maintain all that we do, we need to raise over £1.6 million this coming season in donations, grants and sponsorships. It's a tall order, but we simply cannot deliver our current level of programming without such generosity. It's very sobering to think that if we didn't have such support, every seat that we currently sell for £30 would need to be sold for £50. In other words, a £30 seat is subsidised by around £20 or so, and about £1 of this subsidy comes from the government. The remaining £19 comes from our own fundraising efforts, essentially the generosity of so many of you in this room. It's quite an achievement and a huge tribute to your dedication and your support, particularly over the last decade. The plans and the achievements outlined today belie our modest resources, and our challenge now, as it has always been, is to bring fresh, creative energy and support to the organisation and to extend our position in the digital world. We all love this great hall, but it's vital to ensure that its future is as vibrant and as relevant as its past. And we need not be afraid of change, but we must embrace it, as we have done for the past decade. In the words of John Cage, "I can't understand why people are frightened of new ideas. I'm frightened of the old ones." It's crucial that the arts and culture be allowed a strong, unhindered space within our society, a space in which creativity can emerge and art is accessible to all, a space both physical and digital in which the arts can evolve in a way that makes them significant, relevant, and emancipating in this rapidly evolving world. If we as a society are to give expression to the value we place on the arts, then every element of that society has a role to play: the state, the citizen, the philanthropist, and business. In this election year, let's shout out whenever and wherever we can that music and the arts can be a great binder, a ubiquitous seal of community life and action. And although public funding is no doubt under great pressure, we remain hopeful that so much good work by so many arts organisations here in London and right across the country will help current and future governments to recognise our real social and economic value. You have given us the ability to reconnect with the past and to introduce audiences and communities of all backgrounds and ages to the great joys of music. Wigmore Hall stands as an inspiring affirmation of the depth and richness of chamber music, its great heritage and its future potential. We have another few facts and figures for you now which tell a very important story. So just have a look at this.
is extremely, dare I say it, accessible. I mean, it doesn't have to cost you very much to go to a concert at the Wigmore, and you can hear great performances and share the greatest music.
There isn't really a bad seat in the house. You can sort of sit anywhere. Still, even when you're right at the back, you feel like the singer is really speaking to you.
Yes, indeed, every gift does matter, large or small. And I'd just like to acknowledge all the artists in the room who are with us today. First of all, I'd like to say hello to Graham Johnson, who's rightly regarded as one of the world's leading Schubertians and author of a wonderful new 3-volume work, many thousands of pages, on Schubert songs. And I chose all the singers and pianists for the Schubert celebration, but without Graham's help, there is no way we could have put those programs together. So thank you very much indeed, Graham. The whole world owes you a unique debt for your work on the preservation of song over so many decades. Dame Felicity Lott is here. Welcome. I mentioned Yeston Davies already, but I know he won't mind being mentioned twice. Benjamin Apple is here. James Baillieu, David Bates, Christian Bezudenhout, Jonathan Cohen, the Doric Quartet in full, I believe, members of the Carducci Quartet, members of Stile Antico, Mark Padmore and Robin Tritchler. Thank you all for your commitment to, your belief in Wigmore Hall. Thank you very much indeed.